Even homelessness can't wake women up. Today's video comes from Tale from the Streets. Their channel will be linked in the description of the video so you can go check them out and support them. Watch the end of the video to fully understand the implications of even homelessness not being able to wake women up. Don't forget to follow us on Rumble. You never really know what's going to happen on this platform, and things aren't going so great. So follow us over there. It's linked in the description of the video. And before we begin, we're just going to have a message from Angry's Crypto Academy. So you guys know that things are not going well in our economy. You know, things are going downhill. And if you need to actually focus on protecting yourself and your future, nothing says you care like crypto. So the hard times have arrived. ATMs will stop working. Banks will chain the doors. Protect your wealth and safeguard your future with crypto. Angry's Crypto Academy will teach you how to buy, sell, trade, and invest in crypto. We'll tell you exactly which coins will mint you millionaires and how to spot potential coins to invest in. Don't miss out. The Academy is linked in the description of the video. And now let's just go ahead and jump right into the video.
All right, so what's your name?
My name's Olivia.
Olivia. How old are you?
I'm 20.
Where are you from originally?
Here. Phoenix.
From Phoenix?
Yeah.
What side
Arizona.
of Phoenix?
West side.
From West Phoenix, huh?
Yeah.
So what's your current situation?
I'm on the streets and I could not be, but there's a horrible epidemic going on and I happen to be part of it. And I think that I'm also just having fun, not being sheltered at my mom's house. You know?
So it's your choice?
Yeah, it's my choice. I mean, sometimes it really sucks, but then when I think about it, I'm like, I still have time to get my shit together, you know? I'm still young, so
Yeah.
that's what I'm planning on doing pretty soon here, hopefully.
How long have
Notice homelessness is a choice for women, but it's not a choice for men. So women always have someone to bail them out for every bad decision that they make, while men either have to succeed because if they don't succeed, then they will not survive.
you been homeless for?
About 2 years.
2 years.
2 years. But I mean, I'm clean. My clothing smells good, you know?
Yeah.
Being homeless doesn't mean you have to be a bum, like the idea of a bum. You can still shower. I sleep on beds, couches, hotels, you know? Usually not outside during the nighttime, at least. I mean, if you're a good person, you usually make friends, you know?
Yeah.
You make friends and you don't end up being stuck, especially while it's hot outside. Like right now, it sucks.
So what do you do out here to survive?
I boost a little bit. I try and sell everything that I can. I like coming up on abandos,
Yeah.
especially ones that people don't take everything out of, like new houses that are abandoned, because you have no idea how much fucking all the insides of a house can go for, you know?
Yeah.
So that's usually how I make most of my money.
So you strip them sometimes?
Yeah. Like the air conditioning units and shit. I don't do it. I just have everybody else do it.
Yeah.
I just call a couple people and I'm like, okay, come do your
so
thing.
You don't physically do it yourself?
No, I
like,
take-
you don't take the tools and...
No, I go and I take like couches and furniture and shit and I sell that stuff.
I was gonna say, how'd you learn how to do that?
Yeah, I wish I could do that, but I don't see myself getting my hands all dirty like taking a radiator out of an air conditioning unit.
Yeah.
Not my thing. But I mean, they give me good money for it and I just tell them the location, the address, and I make sure that it's safe for them to come pick it up, and yep, they split me like 50-50.
So earlier you said you were out here having fun. Is it fun being out here on the streets?
It's exciting.
Is
That's
it?
for sure. Some days suck. Sometimes shit happens and I'm just like, am I at my wit's end? And I'm sitting there and I'll be crying against a wall or a tree or something because somebody just robbed me of all my shit or something happened. But then, you know, like, am I really over it? Because I think I'm reaching my breaking point pretty soon, but I'm just waiting for that rock bottom for me to finally be like, okay, let's get clean, let's go home, you know, let's get our shit together.
Yeah, that's what I was going to
But
say.
it's
Isn't it
fun.
dangerous out here?
It's dangerous, yeah, but I mean, everybody's human.
Yeah.
You know, you put yourself in the situations you get into for sure. And anybody who's ever had something bad happen to them, I'm sorry that it happened to you, but you usually see shit coming. You know, you can tell when somebody has a weird vibe, you know, or something's like a dangerous situation. Especially being like a pretty chick. Like, I've been out here by myself this whole time, you know, and I can't say that any terrible situations like that have happened.
So she has chosen to be homeless and she is surviving on the streets by stealing. I've talked about the fact that this is where things are heading for Gen Z, and people don't realize the serious implications of this. Because for Gen Zers, they have no futures. You know, I am so fortunate now, even though it's funny because when I was growing up, I despised a lot of Gen Xers. I spent most of my time with Gen Xers. I had no real millennial friends because they were still younger than me, a lot younger than me. And so I spent most of my time with Gen Xers. When I entered into the workforce, it was only Gen Xers. And I will tell you this, as I've gotten older now, I'm grateful for the Gen X friends that I've had throughout my life because I realize now that even though times were hard, even though I suffered a lot, there were a lot of great things I got to enjoy and I got to experience specifically because of Gen X and being around Gen Xers. You know, I got to have a lot of great experience. I got to, even though I was not hardcore red pilled, I was able to know not to do certain things. Like, don't like your first time with some chick. Don't be, it shouldn't be with a girl that you're in love with. It should be with some girl that you're not in love with. I know you're like angry. That's crazy. No, it's important. You know, again, it wasn't a perfect situation, but I'm thankful that I got to enjoy some of the good times because Gen Z is not enjoying any of the good times. The good times were even for us, the hard times were still good compared to what Gen Z has right now. They may have all of this technology, they may have all of these video games, may have all of these distractions, but that's really all they are. They're distractions. Instagram is nothing more than a distraction. Social media is nothing more than a distraction, and it's damaging our attention spans. I have over 700 games on Steam right now, for example, and the reality is I will likely never play all of those games before I leave this earth. It's the honest to goodness truth. I have over 700 games on Steam, and I will likely never enjoy all of them. And it's humbling. It's really, really humbling because, just a couple a couple good games back in the old days were fun. Today, no. You constantly want more, even though you can't even play them. You don't even have time for them as an adult because you have to be there working. I've got to be here working right now, making content for you guys. It's it's just interesting. Like Gen Z will never know the life when times were simpler. Even like sometimes, like and I think Andrew Tate said it. Like it's the bad times, it's the hard times where that are the most fun. It's like a lot of those times when you don't have as much, it's you sometimes it's just having other people to spend time with and being able to have a drink and hang out on the beach and stuff like that. Those are some of the greatest times ever. And Gen Z will never know those times. The modern day era is absolutely miserable. Modern day society sucks. And there's no if, ands, or buts about it. It's a miserable reality. And I said that I said I had over 700 games. It's actually over 800 now. It's over 800, more like 825 on Steam. I've got almost 400 on GOG, and I don't have time to play most of them. It is funny. I will tell you, it's funny. I just don't have the time anymore. Like I realize it's either one or the other. Either I'm going to get my work done today, or I'm going to spend the entire day playing video games. And I remember like like I think it was like last week. I basically took off like 2 days, didn't release any content for 2 days, and I've deliberately hidden my email address so you guys can't email me anymore. I mean, it's still out there, and some of you it's still out there, and some of you are still able to find it and email me. And of course, like, I take off 2 days. I take off 2 days and you guys are hitting me up like notes videos for 2 days. Nice. And then of course I'm like, back to work. But it's I'm just like kind of giving you that example. Like it's like we're so distracted today, we're not even able to enjoy the most basic of basic things anymore. Because we have to work as adults, and Gen Z will never know that reality. And modern women, they've had everything handed to them, so they'll never know how to appreciate anything. They'll never know how to appreciate one man. Most women, they'll never know how to appreciate, the simple things that they have in life. They can't appreciate things anymore because they've been conditioned to believe that they should always accumulate more, more, and more, which is something that they picked up from the baby boomers, because their philosophy was consumerism. The center of their lives is money. It's consumerism. It's because of the way that they were raised. It's because of the idiot box. I told you, it's like I feel like I feel like it was like an overcorrection with Gen X, and some of it also came from the silent generation, because I think I've told you guys like the story before where, my pediatrician when I was like 13 basically tells, and he was someone I highly respected. He tells me he was a member of the silent generation, an older member of the silent generation, and he tells me, okay, yeah, so television, don't watch it. And I'm like, what? No TV? Why no television? And you're telling a 13-year-old not to watch television? And I'll never forget it. He basically referred to it as essentially the idiot box and said that I'd become fat, stupid, and lazy if I watched it, alluding to becoming like the baby boomers. And he's like, you don't want to become fat, stupid, and lazy now, do you? No. All right. So you just leave that alone. And it messed me up. That 100% messed me up. I always had a passion for reading, but after after that, I basically just focused more on books, and I started reading a lot more books. Like, I read books by R.L. Stein. I read books like, I read Greatest Expectations. Oh my gosh, I read so many different books. Of course, I read the Harry Potter series. I read s I oh my goodness, there was a series of books called the Time Novels by Carolyn B. Coney, which was like Both Sides of Time, Out of Time. They were insane books. I absolutely loved them. They need to make those into movies if they already haven't. But yeah, so after my doctor ruined television, after my pediatrician ruined television for me, I, uh I basically that happened, and what's funny about that is my mother couldn't stand him, so basically she swapped him out for a boomer doctor. Yeah, this is how corrupt the boomers were. The boomers were so corrupt that if they didn't get their way, or if they felt like their children were being red pilled, they'd basically just, change the environment. They were a very, very corrupt people, and they raised very narcissistic children, and that's the reason why Gen that's the reason why, that's the reason why the baby boomers that's the reason why the baby boomers are the way they are. They're very cold, they're very mean, they're very spiteful. And you look at Gen Z, Gen Z are basically the reincarnates of the boomers. They're not good people, they're miserable people. And I keep telling you guys, like, modern women, they chose this path for themselves, and homelessness is going to become illegal. Trump's already made it clear. A lot of you guys are just sitting and thinking it's going to be all right. It's not. Tyrone 10 cities are going to become a thing. And many of you are going to find yourselves in Tyrone 10 cities. Either you're going to be in prison, either you're gonna be incarcerated. So I say prison, but county jail. Some of you will be going to prison, but a lot of you will be in county jail, mental institutions, or Tyrone tent city. Or you'll go from either the mental institution or the county jail to the Tyrone tent city after you've done your time in either one of those. Because Trump's made it clear that homelessness will be illegal, and your choices are only three: incarceration, institutionalization, or Tyrone tent city. And then he said, even in Tyrone, Tennessee, you'll get the help that you need in Tyrone, Tennessee. So don't think you're going to go to Tyrone, Tennessee and have a good time in Tyrone, Tennessee. It's like when you were growing up in the boomer era, and it's like, and you were sick and you had to stay home from school. You weren't watching television. You weren't playing games. Your parents were making you miserable at home. All right. This is how we were raised. So it's like, you're not going to have a good time in Tyrone, Tennessee. Tyrone's going to have a good time in Tyrone, Tennessee, because he's the king of Tennessee, but you're not going to have a good time. And that's why I keep warning y'all to learn about crypto, because that's what's going to help many of us to survive and thrive while everyone else is just struggling to survive. Ask you something. When the banks collapse, and trust me, it's coming, will you be ready? Imagine waking up to ATMs that don't work, bank doors chained shut, and millions of people left with nothing. No cash, no access to their savings, and no way to survive. But it doesn't have to be that way for you. That's why I created Angry's Crypto Academy, to teach you everything you need to know about crypto so you can protect yourself and your family. You'll learn how to buy, sell, and even day trade crypto for a living. Plus, we alert you to new crypto trends so you can profit before everyone else even knows what's happening. Right now, I've just published an exclusive investment guide inside the Academy, and it's linked in the description below. In it, I reveal the one coin that could make you a millionaire. A coin so revolutionary, it could change everything. If you missed out on Bitcoin and Ethereum, this is your second chance. This isn't just about financial freedom, it's about survival. When the system collapses and everyone else is selling, you'll be the one buying, prepared to weather the storm and thrive while others struggle to survive. Don't wait. This knowledge isn't optional, it's critical. The link's in the description. Go check it out now.
But I also keep myself from, getting in those situations. If I am in a car full of a bunch of dudes and they're all hitting on me, I'm like, I'm gonna get out the next bus stop or something, Like, don't fucking sit there and let them take you to their house and stuff. I've definitely come close, I feel, a couple times. This one crazy dude was like stalking me outside of QT to the point where I had to literally ask some other dude to pick me up and drive me a couple streets down away from this dude because the dude was being really weird. He was like trying to kidnap my cat and get me in his car, and I was like, no. I was like, I don't do that. And he's like, come on, just for a second. I'm like, for a second, for what? We're talking face to face through your window. This is all you need. But I don't know. It's dangerous, but so is all parts of life. It's fun. I don't know. There's good people out here for sure.
She's not one of them. This is a woman who steals. She goes into houses and robs them, and it acts like it's normal. Boosting. All right. I mean, and that's just like boosting is a variety of different things. She looked like if you leave anything unguarded, she'll go and steal your stuff. And like, this is a poor thing. And this is like, what's like Umar Johnson's like, baby. I can't really do the Umar impression. Like, baby, you're not going to steal anymore. We're going to get that stealing out of you. All right. Now I'm going to hug you really tight and you're going to change your ways. That old simp. What she needs is prison. All right. Can you imagine all of the lives that this woman has destroyed? All of the stuff that she has stolen from these homes. And it's like, oh, she's a victim. She has no victim. She belongs in prison, not in county jail. She belongs in prison. Undoubtedly, she's probably responsible for tens of thousands of dollars in theft and property damage. And that's just in terms of houses that she's looted. Unbelievable. Like I tell you, like this is what Gen Z is heading for. This is the future of Gen Z. I told you, thieves and squatters, because they have no futures. They have zero futures. There's no jobs for these people. Okay, and they've basically turned inside, gone within. So they're not facing reality anymore. So once they can't live with their parents anymore, mommy and daddy can't bail them out. Many of them will be in the streets and they'll be stealing and squatting. And then you put them in jail, put them in prison. They're only going to have a good time. They're going to eat, sleep, drink, get drunk, smoke, do drugs, play games, work out, get laid, fart, and then do it all again the next day. That's Gen Z for you. They're only going to have a good time. So it's really hard to defeat this group of people because they don't see any future for themselves. The boomers stole their futures. Just like the boomers stole our futures, they stole their futures. The boomers are the wealthiest guys. I actually asked. This is something funny. This is something so funny. I actually asked Grok, like, no, I asked Chat GPT, like, I straight up asked, like, did the boomers steal our futures? And it was like, yes. It was like, yes, it did. Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. Like I said, like, are the boomers the wealthiest generation in the history of humanity? A lot of you are like, well, I mean, I don't know if that's necessarily true. Here's actually a response. This actually came from ChatGPT. Adjusting for population, boomers stand out. There are about 71 million in the U.S. alone, far more than the Gilded Ages, 1%, a few thousand tycoons. Their aggregate wealth spread across millions reflects a middle-class prosperity unseen in prior eras. Globally, though, emerging markets complicate the picture. So, are boomers the wealthiest? In raw dollars, probably yes. The wealthiest in the history of humanity. Thanks to modern economic scales and their sheer numbers relative to their era's global wealth, they are impressive but not unmatched. Gilded Age titans or ancient rulers might edge them out proportionately. So, to edge out your average baby boomer today, for someone to be wealthier than your average baby boomer today, you would have to be a Gilded Age titan or ancient ruler. The average baby boomer today is wealthier than the average Roman citizen was at the heights of the Roman Empire, where the average Roman citizen did not have to work. The average boomer is wealthier than these people. That should tell you how bad the situation is. They stole everything from us, and they're still not finished yet.
That are out here, the partiers and the outcasts, so it makes it more fun. You know, they're all rebels that don't fit in.
Tell me how your childhood was growing up.
I got good grades. No, oh, they weren't together. My dad in and out of my life. My dad was an asshole of a dad. But my mom was a good mom. Like, she was super protective. I smoked weed the first time when I was like 16, and then I became a really big pothead. I had one boyfriend my entire teenage years. I went to a couple of schools. Like, we didn't move around much. I went to like one high school, 2 junior highs, 2 elementary schools. My mom was a really good mom. I mean, she was a single mom. She was a bartender her whole life, but my mom still did a really good job of keeping me and my sister in decent areas. I always had C's and above in school. Always a good kid. I actually had a job from the age of like 11. My mom got me a job at her work doing toast and coffee. I made toast and coffee, but it gave me a good work ethic. I was always a really good kid until, I don't know, I turned 18 and I met somebody else and he was kind of bad, and here I am now.
So you met a bad boy.
Yeah, I mean, the first one was kind of bad, but he was not into bringing me into the bad shit. This one, that
Was kind of bad. So she met a bad one, and then she met someone worse. So, first she started off with Ray Ray, and then she met Pookie after that, and then of course she went on to Tyrone, and that's when Tyrone helped her get hooked on the fluffy white stuff, and then the CRCK. And a lot of these people are out in this place are out in Arizona, and I learned from you guys there's this thing called blues. So they like blues out there. They like to do blues out there. So she's probably doing blues. I mean, this is modern society for you. And she, I'm not praising single motherhood, but she said that her mother was overall a good mother. She got her a job by like 11 years old, so she was living the life. Wow, she was living the life. She was making money. She could, guys, these people are horrible. These are terrible people. She had a job. She was making money. She could buy whatever the hell she wanted to with said money. She could open up a bank account and start investing. There were so many different things she could do. Instead, she turned 18, and as soon as she turned 18, she chose the streets.
brought me out here into this crazy world. He was like, oh, come join me, come hit this tray, and it was awful. But I don't regret it, you know? It helped me learn a lot more as a person, because I used to be like, oh, homeless people, a little stuck up, you know? And now I have a great a view of people.
She is the perfect example of why people do not like homeless people. I'm just being so honest. Like, she is the perfect example of this. Like, I've seen so many people on my channel who say they were previously homeless and they do not like homeless people, and it's because of people like her why that ends up happening. She used to have a very negative opinion of homeless people, and then she became homeless and started stealing and committing crimes on the streets and using substances, and now she has a great view of homeless people because, hey man, because now she's one of them. Now she is the exact thing that she used to look down upon and despise.
Like, I never really was around homeless people or addicts or anything like that, you know? I was like a stuck-up little white kid from the suburbs.
Is that your ethnicity? Are you white?
No, I'm Sicilian.
You're Sicilian?
Yeah, I'm Sicilian more than anything. Got a little Cherokee and a little bit of black in me.
Mixed?
Yeah, but mostly Sicilian. You have a nice smile.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
How are you going to get out of your situation?
I'm going to pick up the phone and call my mom and say, Mom, it's time, drop me off at a rehab. Do like around a month in a rehab, you know, just enough so that my mom feels comfortable with letting me come back into her house. Not like, you're gonna do this again.
Yeah, so it sounds like this is not the first time. And eventually people get sick and tired of you. Because if she was stealing on the street, she was probably stealing from her mom. So she'll go home to her mother's house and she'll steal her stuff and then boost it. She'll boost her mom's stuff and then sell her mom's stuff. I'm telling you, I know a guy used to have a Gen X friend, and he was dating this woman for a very long time, and she had a son who was, on stuff, and this kid would steal his mother's stuff, steal the TV, steal all this stuff, and steal all the stuff and sell it for his so that he get his fix. And what ended up happening was they got tired of it and they have these institutions. So they called one of the institutions that I was overseas. This happened overseas. They called one of the institutions, and basically, these big men in white, they came and got him, and his mother had him committed. And he said that, and my friend he actually paid part of the money to have him institutionalized. Yeah, like one of these rehab centers. And it was actually funny because let's say my friend's name is Steve. Her son was like, "Steve, why are you doing this for Steve? Steve, come on, Steve, help me, Steve. Please, Steve, help me. Please, Steve." He started to beg. He started to beg because they came and got him. And he's like, and he was standing there and he goes, "No, Steve, please help me." Because his mother wasn't going to bail him out. His mother had to call him to take him. And he starts begging my friend, "Please, Steve, help me, please." And I think my friend was the one who had paid for a lot of stuff in that apartment too. He had bought all, he stayed, he would stay there sometimes. He had paid for a lot of the different things there. And this kid stole all of that stuff. He's like, "No, get him out of here. Take him away. Drag him out of here." And they basically took him, locked him up. It was like almost like a prison. And they put them in there and they put them to work. They give them a job in there, which is exactly what you have to do with them. And after he was in there for a while, he actually started to feel better and he was happier in there. And he didn't really want to leave. The thing is that a lot of these people, once they get onto these substances, they can't stop themselves or help themselves. They need to be locked away. They need to be permanently locked away, and probably for the rest of their lives, maybe. Or if they're ever let back out on the streets, they have to be permanently watched because they can't help themselves. They are always going to have this habit. They're always going to want the fluffy white stuff or whatever they're fixed on. To be honest, it's not even the fluffy white stuff. It's the derivative of the fluffy white stuff, and other things like it. It's a sad reality, and this is kind of where this is basically where Gen Z is headed. Like, this is 100% their future. They're going to be about that life because they really they don't even care about their lives that much.
So she thinks that I actually have good goals set. And then my mom said I can come home. The home is always home, no matter what happens in life, I can always come home as long as I'm not using or have children or a boyfriend. It's just me and I'm doing all right, I can come home.
Do you have any kids?
No, not yet. Thank God. Thank God for birth control. Right. Like every 3 months, I still stick to that, no matter how irresponsible I'm being. Still go and get my birth control shot every 3 months. It's one thing that my mom was like hard on me. But I am so happy. I see girls my age and they're like, "I got 3 kids." I'm like, where did you have time for that? Because I feel like I'm still a child. Whoa.
What's your plans for the future? You have any goals, dreams, or anything?
I want to own restaurants. I've always wanted to own restaurants. I've always worked in restaurants. I want to own like little mom and pop breakfast spots and have the best biscuits and gravy in town.
man. What if we have any younger viewers in there watching this interview and they're thinking about trying substances or running the streets? What kind of advice would you give them?
Don't get yourself in anything that you're not ready to do. If you're not sure that you can do it and you don't have knowledge about it, don't just jump in, because it's scary. It's definitely scary. And don't leave home. Stay there as long as possible. If you can be 40 and stay there, because that is the safe spot. Your mom will always take care of you. Once you're out here, you're on your own, you know? And drugs are fun, but don't get addicted to them.
Fun. See, you can't have both. You can't have both, and that's what's unfortunate with a lot of young women. They took everything. You know, it's just like the baby boomers, sex, drugs, and rock and roll. They took it all for 50 years, and now they're steering down the barrel of old age, and they don't like it, and they want to make life hard for everyone else while taking no accountability for any of the choices that they've made. Even homelessness can't wake women up. Let me know your thoughts. We'll talk about it in the comments. Like the video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you like the video, share the video. And just remember that all roads lead to MWA, men walking away. And cheers.
Nothing says you care like crypto. Nothing can compare. Nothing says you care like crypto. Oh, nothing can compare to crypto.